penetrating bullet.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
More powerful than a locomotive.
Hulk! Smash!
Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
There's more to them than meets the eye.
It's Superman!
Welcome to Chuckles Crypt. I am your host, Chuckles the Clown, and we have a full house today. We have George Garner. Welcome.
Good evening.
We have Psycho Eddie here, and in a little bit we will have Seth Carney here on radio, as well as Mr. Tony Jones.
All the main eventers here again.
So we started things off with some AC/DC, and tonight's going to be a little different because I've done what I call the A-listers of rock and roll tonight. So it's all, starting off like Sesame Street, but on crack.
Uh-huh. You had me a little nervous there. I thought you were going to say we're trying something different. We're all going to go AC/DC tonight.
Well, that might be another radio show.
I wouldn't have had chili for lunch.
Oh. So let's start off with some nerd news, and there is a lot of it to cover, including one of our favorite cons is coming up and around the corner here, and Rhode Island Free Radio will be represented there, and that is at Rock and Shock, and that's October 12th, 13th, and 14th. If you guys haven't had a chance to go to this, it's in the DCU Center at Worcester Palladium and the Worcester Palladium, and it's up in Worcester, Mass. It's a really cool gathering. We were talking off mic that this horror convention does support independent horror movies. It's not just A-listers. And I think that's really cool. And they pull in some rock bands that aren't all A-listers and hip-hop bands, and they just put it together, and it's a party of rock and roll and horror movies.
And one of the longest-running cons, right? Or at least one of the longest-running cons that we've been a part of. I think we had our first table there in 2012, 2013.
Time goes by. Yeah.
And it's well worth going down to it again. I mean, there's some great actors going to be there. Like our good friend Bill Moseley will be there. So go down there and say hi to him. There's a big, big list. And, of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that Rhode Island Comic-Con is also it's creeping up on us rather quickly. And that's going to be from the 2nd through the 4th, and that's in Providence, Rhode Island at the Providence Convention Center. That is coming up really quickly. And we will be represented there as well, as long as Chuckles the Clown will be there. Well, it's Halloween, right? It's getting there.
Absolutely.
It's getting really close to Halloween, and I would like to mention the fact that Scary Acres is my home this October. So if you guys are looking for a haunted attraction in Rhode Island, look no further. Go to Scary Acres. It's at Confreda Farms, Situate Ave, Hope, Rhode Island. And if you don't live in Rhode Island and you're from where you are, Germany, take a plane. Take a boat. Who cares? Just come down and see us at the haunted house there and have a good time.
But before you do, just recognize the fact and prepare yourself for the fact that Chuckles the Clown will be in full haunting attack mode.
Oh, I was torturing the people this weekend. Last weekend, not so much, but this weekend, I had a chip on my shoulder, as usually I do.
I was going to say, is it ever not there?
That's your job.
Yeah, it was there, and every little bastard that came through that tried heckling me, I made sure to make it was kind of like a Santa Claus list. I would put their name on it, and I'd go inside the freaking corn maze and wait for them and give them a nice scare.
You know what you should do? You should dress up like a Catholic priest clown. That would scare the little bastards to no end.
I would not dress up as a Catholic priest if you paid me.
Well, I'm just saying, for terrorizing purposes.
There would be several terrorized young children, especially boys.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I mean, if you want to get back at the little hecklers.
Listen, I'm already hated as being an evil clown, which I can take the heat for that, but I'm not going to be going down a Catholic priest route to get hated for that part.
Yeah, but there's nobody more hated than Catholic priests.
Well,
you're in competition now, Chuckles. You got to realize this. You may be an evil clown. You may be terrifying, but nobody is more hated than a Catholic priest, except maybe, I don't know, maybe a terrorist. But no, I don't even think so.
Donald Trump?
He's
pretty hated.
Hated by the liberal branch, but not universally. Not universally. No, I think the Catholic Church has got the caduce on this one now.
Didn't they just release a movie called The Nun?
They did. I don't know much about it, though.
Yeah, I haven't seen it as well. I heard it tanked. I didn't hear that it did too well.
Was it supposed to be like a real movie, or was it just like a B-movie, like have fun with?
No, it's supposed to be an offshoot of the Conjuring franchise, but I don't know how
really?
It was related.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea how it's related, and I've heard nothing but it sucks from everybody. So I haven't made my way to see that movie yet. I think I'll wait till it's on Netflix or something where it's free for me to watch.
Yeah, so if the universal opinion is that it really sucks, that means either we're really going to enjoy it or it sucks.
It could be the point.
No, I have to speak from my past, and it's truly devastating that I actually have this knowledge. But after 12 years of Catholic schooling, I can tell you nuns are far more scary than priests are. Of course. Because priests try to be your friends.
Not if you're a little boy.
Well, priests will try to be your friends as a means to an end.
Right.
Nuns are just miserable.
Right, because they're not getting anything.
Exactly.
From anybody at any point for any reason.
And they're usually too old to get the priests excited. That's why they go after the little boys.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think you would have. I don't think anybody over about 12 years old gets them excited. So, I mean, even a young girl in the bloom of youth, I don't think is going to accomplish anything.
And this is now the Haunted Cabaret show. just to go that route, because
we are circling the bowl quickly.
Very quickly. Let's finish off some nerd news here. Of course, we have King Richard's Fair, which our guest Seth Carney will be here to talk more about later on in the show, and that's in Carver, Massachusetts. And for you nerds out there that are excited for this, I am. The Venom movie comes out this weekend.
It does, indeed. My favorite... I don't know, Chuckles. Do we want to say favorite Spider-Man villain, or it's close?
He's a toss-up because he goes from villain to good guy.
Which I don't. Yeah, no.
I would classify him more of an anti-hero than I would a villain.
See, I became acquainted with Venom in his very first appearance back.
I would equate him almost on the same level as Deadpool, where he just doesn't care and does whatever feels like he wants to do at that point. It doesn't matter, good, bad, or indifferent.
Right.
Okay.
Now, if you're talking Carnage is pure evil. There's no swapping good guy spit with bad guy spit there.
Yeah, no, you got a point there, because even in the original Spider-Man issues where Venom, came into existence, the evil, the calling him evil was always from Spider-Man's point of view, which is kind of understandable since he kept trying to take over Spider-Man.
He kept trying to,
yeah. But that's a definite look forward to.
Well, we're going to go down to some music, and hopefully our guest shows up when we come back, and we will be talking to Seth Carney. Let's go down to some Alice in Chains here on Chuckles Crypt, or on Free Radio. Wood. Welcome back to Chuckles Crypt, and that was Alice in Chains. Wood, not to get confused with the W-O-O-D, wood. No, the wood, the spelling W-O-U-L-D, just in case someone out there is looking this up. In studio today, we have Seth Carney's with us. Welcome.
Hello.
And we're here to talk about your book, Dead End Dorchester.
Yeah, Dead End Dorchester. It's a perfect companion book for reading around a campfire or on Halloween night.
I did enjoy reading that. I'd have to say one of my favorite stories in that was the witch. The Stone Witch was my favorite.
Oh, yeah. I forget even what... I wrote the thing. I can't even remember what it was titled. It's like the hand of a witch or some petrified witch's hand. There we go.
That one was really good. I did enjoy that as well. Now, what inspired you to write this book?
Halloween.
Halloween
in my family has always been a really big deal.
Now, I know this for a fact that you're a fellow haunter.
Yes.
How long have you been haunting?
26 years this year.
That is a long time.
Yes, it is. It's weird when you have people showing up with their kids on Halloween to trick-or-treat, and they say, yeah, I remember when I started coming here when I was a kid. And I'm like, you need to shut your mouth.
So that's the inspiration for the book, which is the love of Halloween. And if I have read it, there is definitely a lot to deal with Halloween inside that book, the short poems and the stories and everything.
Well, there's a poem even called Halloween.
Yes, I do remember the Halloween poem. So who's this book targeted to out there?
Anybody that likes horror, that's into thriller type stuff, anybody that just likes Halloween, I would say probably, I mean, young kids like it. My daughter loves it. But I would say other than that, probably people that are over 30, because they would still remember Halloween when what I like to say was it was fun.
Yeah.
You could have a Halloween party with your friends, be bobbing for apples, get soaked, nobody cared. Nowadays, yeah, try to do that.
Yeah, they have trick or trunk.
Yeah, trunk or treating.
Yeah, that's
sad.
That's messed up. Or trick or treating during the daytime.
You mean they hold the kids around in a trunk?
That would be my version of trick or trunk. No, they actually put candy in a trunk
They
in
pull
a
into a
parking
parking
lot,
lot.
and it's during the daytime. They go around trick or treating out of a trunk. Yeah, I'm serious, man. This world has come to.
We need an asteroid about the size of the one from 65 million years ago to hit this whole country.
But it does make it a lot easier if you want to egg them because all the cars are parked in the parking lot, so you just chuck them all in one place.
Yeah, now, true story.
Oh, God.
Tony Jones and myself here have done a lot of bad stuff in our lifetime. And this gentleman in his car, that he lived inside of his car, we started off the night by egging him, which led to
That's what he gets for getting out of the car.
which led to throwing donuts at him at one of the stops, and then it led to mixing this concoction of everything in the sink and a mystery meat in the refrigerator and throwing it onto his car hood, and it stripped the paint right off the hood and everything. So that's
now, if you live in your car, do you get to put a homeowner's claim in for
Yeah.
that?
You know, we carved pumpkins. We did more subtle things.
My question, though, is, did anybody actually bob for apples, or is that just something you see on old TV sitcoms?
I did.
yeah.
I think
People
I
really
did.
did that?
Yeah, we used to do bobbing for apples. My father had this game that he made up. I don't even know what he ever called the thing, but he would tie balloons around his ankles, and he'd throw on a werewolf mask and chase kids around the yard, and the kids had to try to pop the balloons. And inevitably, my father would end up with all kinds of bruises on his legs from all the kids booting the hell out of him. I never understood really what the point of the game was, but it sure was fun.
Well, for your father to get a hamstrung, maybe. I mean,
Right?
We definitely did. We played a version of Bob the Apples called Extreme Bobbing for Apples, where you would fill the tub with ice. And then you would go in for the apples. So it was
like ice
torture.
cubes type of thing?
Yeah.
Oh, that would
Big
suck.
time. Yeah, but it was fun. It was definitely fun. We had one of those Jell-O molds that we turned into an ice mold of a skull that we would put inside the ice floating there. So there'd be a giant frozen skull pointing up at you as you were bobbing for apples.
Spooky.
Oh, yeah, very spooky.
I would actually
and
do
the
that
loser
now.
would end up in the bathtub filled with ice with the note that said, "We have stolen your kidneys. Call 911."
I like that.
You weren't supposed to tell that, Ed. That was supposed to be on the
So I heard.
secret
but you only
side.
took one kidney at a time, right? You didn't take both.
I'm not greedy.
Hey, at $20,000 a piece, I'd go for both.
Well, no, it's the difference between murder.
They're not my
charge
kidneys.
True, but they're going to pursue you more diligently if you murdered somebody than if you just took a kidney.
That's only if they make it.
Wow. And we've gone this route.
So this is where we've come to, folks. By the way, Dead End Dorchester is available on Amazon.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, what is one of your favorite stories or poems inside this that you've written?
Honestly, it's the poem Halloween.
Yeah, that's your favorite?
I'll read it right now. I don't care
please do.
If you want me to. Sure. No, it's my favorite one because it makes me think of when I was a kid at Halloween time and seeing all the fun trick-or-treaters coming up. Everybody in those old Ben Cooper costumes with the horrible plastic masks and the little plastic, onesie. And it was fun, but this is Halloween. The sun has set, the moon is bright. Let's see what sights we can see tonight. Skeletons march row by row, ghosts and goblins know where to go. Devils, witches, and ghouls abound, jack-o'-lantern grins astound. We watch as zombies shuffle on, as crazy creatures have come and gone. They all have a craving for just one thing. Again we hear the doorbell ring. Superheroes, aliens, cowboys, and more, you never quite know what you'll have in store. So many sights and monsters to meet when they all come for our tricks or treats.
Oh, very good. That's where we add in the clapping part. Not the clap, but the clapping.
No, you're not giving me the clap.
No, we don't want to ever give that
Yeah,
clap.
but we can dub it.
Yeah, we dubbed it right.
How do you dub getting the clap?
I don't know.
From a distance so you don't catch it yourself.
Sweet.
Oh, man.
Hey, I do want to add in something about this book, though. I want to give credit where it's due. My illustrator, Kate Swanson, she absolutely rocks. The pictures that are in the book are supposed to look like a child drew them. Now, here's the thing with Kate. She's a professional artist. Her work is amazing. And when I hired her, I said, now, I want these pictures to look like a young, small child drew them. She says, okay. So she sends me the first draft of a couple of pictures. I said, no, those look too good. I need it dumbed down. I want it to look like a little child drew this, like a 3-year-old. She says, oh, okay.
Well, why don't you just get a 3-year-old to do it?
Because I wanted it to look better. If it made any sense. Like I kept telling her I want scratchy. I want it to just look old. I want to see the sketch marks and stuff. I don't want perfect lines. She would send me another draft. No. That's too good. That's too good. So when people see the book, we were joking about this a couple weeks ago. I was like, that's a hell of a first impression people get for your artwork to see these like chicken scratch drawings. But she really is an amazing artist. Her name's Kate Swanson. Look her up on Facebook and check out some of her work.
It's not the work that's in the book.
No, it's much better stuff. But for the purpose of the book, the drawings suit what I was looking for. But her normal artwork is phenomenal. Not that these are good, but I'm just saying, quality wise, when you see it, you wouldn't think it was the same artist.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. I like some artwork there. Maybe we could get her as a guest on the Chuckles and Laughs show. And
I'm sure we could do that. Kate, if you're listening, you could be on the radio.
Yeah, that would be great. So you have plans to make another one?
Yes, this is volume 1. The plan right now is to have 3. But it could easily go more than that.
Awesome.
Well, especially if you took some notes on those stories that Chuckles and Tony just told you.
Right? Well, I was actually thinking volume 2 would be all real stories. There's things that I've experienced, just bad, weird, crazy things on the road, but somehow twisted into spooky stories. I was thinking that could be interesting because I've had quite a life.
Okay.
Oh, yes, you have. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little more about Seth Carney's life and some of his other accomplishments in life, which there's quite a list. So let's go down to some Alestorm here on Chuckles Crypt. Nancy the Tavern's Witch. The things that you hear when the mics are turned off. Only if we can make this thing go live. We can't do that.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, you guys would be setting back there. Not such a PG-13 atmosphere once these mics are turned off, that's for sure. That was Alestorms, Nancy the Tavern Wench, and great band. I got the chance to see them up at the Met with Gloryhammer. A cool story there. The keyboardist for Gloryhammer is the lead singer for Alestorm. So the two of them tour together no matter what. So it was a great show. And in studio, just in case you guys forgot or are just tuning in, we have Seth Carney with us.
Hello.
And we were talking about his book, Dead End Dorchester, where can they pick this up if they missed the beginning?
It's available on Amazon.com. You can type in Dead End Dorchester or my name, Seth Carney. That's SESCARNY. And the book will come right up. It's $13 on Amazon, and if you're a Prime member, you get free 2 days shipping.
Yeah, it sounds like a heck of a deal. Now, besides being an accomplished author, you have a plethora, a list of accomplishments.
I don't know if I'd call them accomplishments.
Well, to me, they definitely are accomplishments. Let the listeners out there know a little bit about Seth Carney, other than the author.
I'm a Sagittarius. I like long walks on the beach and poking dead things with a stick.
Who doesn't like poking dead things on a stick? No, the other side of you, the business side of Seth.
What do you mean? Just places I've performed?
Places you performed. I mean, you've got records that you have broken.
I've been all over America multiple times over the years, performing everywhere from carnival lots to casinos and theme parks, tattoo conventions, biker festivals, colleges, and list goes on. It's been a lot of fun.
And you're retired from the
hardcore stuff, because quite frankly, I've been doing this for 18 years, and I don't know how many more years I have in me to do that hardcore junk, and it's gotten to the point where it takes me a long time to heal now. So
yeah.
It's like, it's time to hang up the hardcore stuff and let some new young kid do it.
I don't relate with that as far, because I've never done the sideshow performance stuff, but I relate with the healing stuff. That's why I stopped professional wrestling, because the very next day I'm not all sprite and ready to go. It's usually the very next 2 weeks I've healed somewhat. I can get going on it.
I get it, man. When I was, in my early 20s out with the carnival, we regularly worked 12 to 14-hour days for 10 days straight, and then you'd tear the show down that night, drive to your next spot, sleep for 4 hours, put the thing back up, and start doing shows again. And I look back on it now, I'm like, yeah, I could run with that then. I can't imagine doing it one day now.
You've done other stuff, like you're in Oddities.
Yeah, the TV show Oddities that was on the Science Channel. I was a reoccurring character on that show. And we did film another episode that was never actually aired because the censors for the network said it was too dangerous for TV.
Too dangerous. Also, you're a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, I was on Last Comic Standing. I've also done multiple colleges and corporate gigs doing comedy. Have a comedy and stunt show at King Richard's Fair. You see that segue?
I like that.
Yep. I definitely like that segue. And speaking about segues, we can go down to some more music, and we'll come back and we'll talk about King Richard's Fair. Why not? This is Amon Amarth, The Way of the Vikings. Perfect way to roll out. That was Amon Amarth, The Way of the Vikings, here on Chuckles Crypt, Rhode Island Free Radio.org. And in studio with us is Seth Carney.
Hello.
And we have been talking about his plethora of accomplishments. We also been talking about his book, Dead End Dorchester, which, again, you can get on Amazon.
Yep, Amazon.com, Dead End Dorchester, where the dead have tales to tell.
That was good and creepy. Appreciated that.
It's my bedroom voice for you, Chuckles.
That I don't know if I appreciate.
Oh, baby.
I go for the cold stiffs, but not
Cold Ethel, huh?
Yeah. Hey, Cold Ethel.
Yeah, I got it.
I do have some Alice Cooper on tap for tonight. So.
That's why I said it. I saw your sheet. I peeked.
Now, let's go down. Let's talk about King Richard's Fair, which is going on right now. Not right now, but the month of October, for the weekends.
Do you want to just talk about it, or do you want my spiel for it?
I want your spiel about your show.
Okay, come on down to King Richard's Renaissance Fair. Check us out online at kingrichardsfair.net. We're located on Route 58 in Carver, Massachusetts. Open weekends through October 25th, including Columbus Day Monday, 10:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Come check out The Torture Show. It's a PG-13 show, folks. Just keep that in mind. Performing 5 times daily, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 3 p.m., and 4 p.m. on the Mouth of Hell stage.
That was really good.
Thank you. I've only said it once or twice.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing King Richard's Fair?
Okay, I was there for 3 years back in starting in 2000. I was there for 3 years. Then I was gone for 4 years because I was working a annual Fright Fest for Six Flags in Gurnee, Illinois. So, of course, the schedules conflicted, and after 4 years with the park, I went back to King Richard's Fair in 2007, and I've been there since.
So, been there for quite some time.
Yeah.
So your show, does it differ from each time, or is it the same?
I try to switch things up every year a little bit. Usually I'll switch up like one act or something every year, try to change things up a little bit. Like this year, the show ends 2 different ways throughout the day. So, you could see one show come back to the next one, and the ending is completely different.
Yeah, I remember watching you during the joust, coming out breathing fire during the.
Oh God, that was 5 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, that was
5 years ago.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was something to do with the storyline that they had this fire-breathing beast that would come out and cleanse the tourney field with fire before the final joust to the death.
And you were the fire-breathing beast.
Apparently, I was the fire-breathing beast.
That must look great on a resume.
I mean, I've been called a lot of things, but that was the first time I was a fire-breathing beast.
Yeah, it is quite the show. I've been to your act for a couple times.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, I would say I did enjoy it. Me and my wife, we both go there, and we enjoy the show there. Much. This year we'll be bringing the little one. So
excellent. Definitely bring an infant to a PG-13 torture show.
Her father is an evil clown. She's already been exposed to worse things.
Okay, we'll go with that.
not stuff that DCYF would be involved in.
Yeah,
but
absolutely not.
But she is. She's definitely not going to grow up.
Well, the show this year, I mean, it's a PG-13 show, but that's mostly for a lot of the jokes, some body humor.
Yeah, I just heard a restricted statement that you might want to add a couple of adjectives to that statement. She's not going to grow up, which is now recorded.
What?
Chuckles the Clown just said,
he was cut off mid-sentence. He said she was not going to grow up, and before he could finish that sentence, you guys changed something else. So either he's planning on offing a child, his own child, or just plain devil's advocate, he didn't finish his sentence.
Right, and I point this out just so that Chuckles can never say I didn't do anything for him, because that statement is now recorded. It is now immortalized.
I don't need any help with any
offing a child. I understand that, but I mean,
I don't need any help with any wrong convictions or wrongdoings.
I can screw up my life on my own. Thank you very much.
I already have a list of people that hate me, including Al Qaeda and.
Well, Ed and I will bring you the tools to break out of your cell when the time comes.
No, I appreciate that. Ed's looking he's not bringing no tools.
I have a relative at the prison. I'll just make sure he doesn't get to be the belle of the ball.
That's all I want.
So that's right, folks. The Torture Show is on 5 times daily on the Mouth of Hell stage.
From the Rhode Island ACI.
And this is not Chuckles Crypt. This is the Haunt Cabaret.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah. Oh man, where do you go from there? But onto another music break because there's really nothing I can go with right now.
At least the music break is Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie.
No, next one is Aerosmith.
Well, everybody needs to get on your Facebook page, when we come back from the break.
Okay. So we're going to go down to some Aerosmith here. Actually, no. Let's skip ahead to Alice Cooper because I just got we have 7 minutes.
That's what I was thinking.
So let's skip ahead to Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie's Hands of Death. This is an awesome Halloween soundtrack if you guys get the chance to bump this.
I'm trying to get it back on track.
That was Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie, The Hands of Death, Aaron Chuckles, CripperIslandFreeRadio.org. It's gotten to that point where it's the show's wrapping up. Oh, man, like, the things in my mind I would like to unsee. That was one of them.
I don't know what your problem is, man.
Yeah, if the cameras are rolling, they'd understand. But they're not. So when next we come into the studio, we will be doing the year 1997, which I will be changing up. We will not be doing the year 1997's hip-hop. We will be doing 1997's hip-hop horror music. So we're going to be playing some horror hip-hop.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, it does exist. We will be playing that here on Chuckles Crypt. So thanks once again, Seth, for coming down to the show.
Well, I got something real special for your listeners.
What's that?
If they go on the Rhode-IslandFreeRadio.org Facebook page and send a message about you, tagging you in it, and telling their favorite Halloween story, you're going to pick a winner, and someone's going to get 2 free tickets to King Richard's Fair. They're good for any day that the festival is open.
Well, that is very good news. And before we go out, once again, where can someone find your book?
My book is available on Amazon.com, Dead End Dorchester.
Cool night to everybody out there.
She was pretty from New York City. I'm walking down that old fair lane. I'm in heat, I'm in love, but just couldn't tell her so. I said the train kept a rolling all night long. Train kept a rolling all night long. Train kept a rolling all night long. Train kept a rolling all night long with a heel and a hoe, but I just couldn't tell her so.
From Monday to Tuesday, you don't have any fun. From Wednesday to Thursday, just gonna have hard run. Friday and Saturday, you're always getting drunk. And Sunday, you stay at home and never thought of church.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was 1031, the second 1031, if you guys follow the show for any length of time. That was the song I Will Not Drown. They were in the studio not that long ago. Speaking of in the studio, we have a full house tonight. Of course, we have Mr. Tony Jones on the soundboard. To my right, we have Mr. George Gorner. Across the table, we have Chuckles the Clown, and special guest this evening, we have Cess Carney. It's right, he is in from... Well, he's in from a bunch of things. King Richard's Fair, number one. Number two, he just released a book that is available, which he's going to be pimping profusely. Shameless self-promotion, along with other things that he does shamelessly. We will be talking about all things Cess Carney this evening. Speaking of which, Cess, how you doing tonight?
Hi, Eddie.
Now, again, if people have any history with us, knows that I don't even bother trying to plan anything because we're usually just laughing and we really don't get full sentences out after the first break.
True.
Only one of us is drinking alcohol, which, of course, is me. Cracked open. I'm trying to finish the Not Your Father's root beer. It's only 5.9% alcohol for those of you who are into the malted beverages.
And the taste of Robitussin.
Yes. It starts off with a very nice kick of root beer, and it suddenly goes awry. So it's tolerable. It's not bad. There's a few things in life I could say that about. Marriage is one of them. Of course, I'm looking around the room. I'm getting very blank stares. All right, never mind.
No, it's just the only reason you're getting a blank stare from me is that I remember as a child, my mother was big on Robitussin.
That's it.
When there was almost anything that was wrong with me, including probably my basic personality, it was Robitussin.
Everything could be cured with Robitussin, unless you, like myself, I'm the youngest of 5, so we didn't have a lot of money. So we had the store brand knockoff. We called it Potussin.
Tussin.
The Potussin.
Add water to Tussin, you got more Tussin.
Motussin. Who that was not us creating that. That was
I want to say maybe Chris Rock.
Yeah, I was thinking Chris Rock doing the Motussin because you shake the bottle. Anyways, no, I did not abuse cough syrup as a child. Alcohol and other substances, maybe. Not Robitussin.
I'm such a fat bastard that I do that with pasta sauce. I put a little bit of water there and make sure I get all the pasta sauce off the side of the jar.
Oh, any
I ain't throwing that out.
Any jarred whatever that you're adding to something else, if there's a little bit left in the jar, shake it violently with some water. Cess is just laughing profusely because of the shaking violently.
No, it's of anything in the jar. Oh, God, I'm tired.
The mental image is just screwing it. You can't unsee it. It's kind of like that thing you were doing with the microphone earlier.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, can't unsee that.
It kind of looked like Venom was eating a microphone. Okay. So, why don't we get down to business? Brass tacks. What brings you in here tonight? You're obviously promoting your book, Dead End Dorchester.
Yeah, Dead End Dorchester. It's a collection of 25 short horror poems and stories, perfect for reading around a campfire or on maybe Halloween. Fun little book.
I'm not going to lie to you. I opened it. I looked at some of the pictures. I read one or two of the poems. If you
it's a hell of a review, Eddie.
Well, what I read, because I'm even though I am no longer doing live events, I'm still very busy. The TV is not going to watch itself. So
I say this coming from the man that just told me during the break, I haven't done anything for 2 months.
That's not true. I had surgery on my foot, and I've been recuperating.
All right, you get a pass. But, hey, here's a good way to spend some time. There's a copy of the book for you.
I already have one.
Well, that's great. Give it to somebody.
I will. Thank you.
You ungrateful.
Ungrateful? I am probably one of the first people, well, the second group of the first people that ordered your book.
All right, you get a pass.
So let's get into the roots of this. How did this book start? What was the motivation? Hey, one day you're just going to put pen to paper and off to the races, or?
It started 2 years ago. My daughter was in an acrobatics class, and I used to go and just kind of sit there and hang out on the couch at the studio while she did her class. And I just was sitting there one day farting around on my phone, and this idea for a spooky poem popped in my head. I was like, oh, well, let's see where this goes. So I opened up the Word document knockoff on my phone and just started typing it out. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. over the next few weeks, I just kept getting ideas and jotting them down. And over 2 years, kind of refined them and put together the collection of ones that I thought were okay.
You thought they were okay?
I thought they were okay.
Now, my wife has read the entire book.
Yay.
She's used very many adjectives, like that dude's messed up.
No.
Well, my wife is very straight edge. She is not like, well, pretty much everyone in this room. She doesn't have that macabre sense of humor. She doesn't see how this is only ideas and thoughts running through someone's head. She's one of the people where if you say, like Chuckles did last, talking about his kid and not
great.
finishing the sentence.
Yeah, he didn't finish his sentence.
She'd be the one
sounded
calling
horrible.
the DCYF saying, I think he's going to off his 2-year-old.
No good.
So my wife did read it. She is a fan of your stage show.
Well, I would like to put a little anecdote out there that this book is appropriate for all ages.
It is true. It is appropriate.
There's nothing inappropriate in it.
No cursing, nothing sexual in nature.
Absolutely not.
By the way, you're not promoting this book properly.
I have no idea how to promote a book. I'm a stage performer.
You just told our listening audience, which is rather extensive, that the book has really nothing we're interested in.
Now I got to put my pants back on.
It's not a very interesting book.
Well, actually, I got to say, and of course, this is based on the little that I actually did read. It is a very good book, or the passages I read didn't suck.
It's got 5-star reviews on Amazon, so apparently people like it.
I was one of the 5-star reviews because I know if it could make my wife cringe, and like I said, the little I read was very good. It's got to be worth a 5-star review.
Okay, but he said it has no profanity in it.
Well, you have to.
My daughter was one of the proofreaders of the book, so I'm like, I'm not going to.
So if he's gearing it towards his daughter, who is not 18 yet, we'll leave it at that. So we're not letting any cats out of the bag. I know you like to keep your private life private.
I appreciate that.
But his daughter was a proofreader, so yeah, he's not going to say, here's a book of filth. See if I spelt anything wrong.
Bring it to show and tell.
Well, no, she learned that when she found my Deadpool comics. That's a joke. That's a joke.
That's almost calling for a disclaimer, but not quite.
True.
That's why I added in. It's a joke.
It's a joke
because then I'm covered.
That's not. No, you're not.
Well, in my mind,
you're not covered until we issue our official disclaimer.
Chuckles discllaimer. No.
No.
It's not his show.
It's not his show.
show.
Oh,
it's his show.
Eddie, disclaimer.
Everything said here is purely for entertainment
purposes only. Yes.
Anything you take seriously is your own fault, not ours. Don't hold it against us if you're a little too uptight for the subject matter.
Well said.
Excellent.
Speaking of uptight for subject matter, why don't we go to change the uptight subject matter to something a little more communal, like music. Why don't we take a break? We'll regroup our thoughts because we're going down the rabbit hole on this, and I don't want to get any deeper. We'll regroup, and we'll come back after a couple of songs. We're going to leave here with the Sugar Cones. Name of this one is Plastic Things. We'll be back in a bit.
It is possible to be free.
right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Sugar Cones. The name of that one was Plastic Things. We are talking to Sess Carney. I do have to retract a statement. My wife has informed me that she said the book was unique, and I could tell now that my wife is actually listening. Hopefully she didn't catch the marriage joke from earlier, which now that I said that, she's going to go back to the podcast, and also, I'll be in trouble tomorrow.
Also, for those listening that are concerned, Ed has a very comfortable couch, so if he has to sleep on it tonight, it won't do any damage to him.
Actually, no, my couches are all blown out from me ending up there so often.
Only because it's you. You'll notice that we do have a very comfortable chair in the corner too.
Yeah, I did notice that. And no, that little noise you heard in the background was my wife messaging me again.
Hate mail coming in real time, folks.
And she called me a bad word that begins with A. And there's a hole involved.
Fred Astaire.
That's it. She called me Fred Astaire. So again, we're talking to Sess Carney here. Now we're going to switch gears here. Now we know about his book. How do we get your book?
It is available for purchase on Amazon.com. If you just type in Dead End Dorchester, or you could type in my name, Sess Carney, SESCARNY. The book will pop right up.
And while you guys are listening, send me an email. Send me an email with some type of a horror poem, something macabre. I'm going to pick one winner. Sess just gave me a book that he told me to give to other people. I want to share the wealth, so anyone who sends me an email with some type of a poem, as long as at least 2 words rhyme, it's a poem to me. You want to send that to mynightout.radio@verizon.net. The winner I will announce next week, and I will be sending you a copy, a signed copy.
Yeah, it's signed by myself.
It is signed by
and the illustrator, Kate Swanson, who is, by the way, an incredible illustrator. I highly recommend you check her out on Facebook, Kate Swanson. And I know she's listening right now. So, Kate, I'm texting you while I'm talking about you on the radio. So there you go.
There you go. So make sure you send me that email. MyNightOutRadio is all one word. At Verizon.net. Also, check me out, Facebook.com/MyNightOut. MyNightOutRI.com is the website for all your upcoming events. You want to check me out on Twitter and Instagram at DJ Psycho Eddie. Now, I got to say, we're going to change gears here. The last time I worked with Sess was
at the Twisted Show.
Was at the Twisted Show. It was his last hardcore show.
Yep.
I came out of retirement. He actually had the last show that I performed at was because he asked me to. So, what are you doing? Obviously you're still doing some of your sideshow act at King Richard's Fair.
Yes, it's
just not the hardcore stuff.
No, that's the show at King Richard's Fair, the torture show. It's a PG-13 show, but that's mostly for the body humor. And a couple of stunts I do, we don't really want the little kids coming to see because we don't want them possibly trying it.
True. I do remember quite well because I pretty much every year, except for last year because of, medical issues. But every show that I've seen you at, you always, right off the bat, very straightforward, you tell people, don't do this at home. You're a professional who's used to the pain.
Well, you got to remind people for insurance purposes.
So we're not the only ones that use disclaimers.
Yeah, we should probably starting our live broadcast with that.
Well, like South Park. Nobody should listen to this.
Or Beavis and Butthead.
Well, if you notice, some of the shows with the highest ratings always have some type of either disclaimer or they warn you that, things are going to get rough. Even if they don't, they have that disclaimer. So I think the disclaimer adds to your ratings. That's just
all right then.
That's just something that popped into my head. I had to get it out before I can continue with, tell us about King Richard's Fair.
Do you want the whole spiel or what do you want?
Give me the 25-cent tour.
25-cent tour. Welcome to King Richard's Renaissance Fair. Open weekends through October 21st, including Columbus Day Monday. We're open 10:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can come see the Torture Show 5 times daily on the Mouth of Hell stage, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 3, and 4 p.m. And make sure to check out our live jousts 3 times daily. We have Jacques Z. Whippers back again this year. Very funny whip show. We have a brand new act for 2018 called Up in Arms Acrobatics. The gentleman's name is Kevin Armour. Really good acrobat. Funny show. Washing Well Wenches are back. The girls from Dracou up on the aerial silks are back. The Vodka family dancing, balancing swords on their heads, and a whole lot more.
Alrighty.
And turkey legs.
And turkey legs, which are really good.
Now, I do have to vouch for the turkey legs. Yeah, very good. Now, you and Jacques, if I remember correctly, did a couple of secret shows.
Yes, the secret show is at 5:30 on the cottage stage after the final joust to the death. But shh, it's a secret.
It's a secret. Make sure you don't tell everyone, but make sure you're there.
Exactly. It's kind of like Fight Club. First rule
is you don't talk about
Fight Club. Don't talk about Fight Club.
That's it. The first rule about the secret show is you don't talk about the secret show.
Except that it's in the program and on the stage sign now. So it's the world's best advertised secret.
Oh, okay. Now, I got to say, it's a little
choose your
ridiculous.
Words.
Yeah, I'm choosing my words. It's a little, I don't want to say unnerving, but it's kind of unique in the situation I get put in because in the place I work at Monday through Friday, they have occasionally they put up small advertisements for whatever vending machines are up. And I just happened to notice on the back of one of the soda bottles, they had the King Richard's Fair stuff, and someone was mentioning King Richard's Fair. And I said, well, do you know the big sign that's up on Route 95 in Rhode Island? Oh, yeah, with the guys blowing the fire. Yeah. Yeah, his name is Sess. I keep telling people, make sure you go down, make sure you say hi, and make sure you tell them that I sent you down there so you don't think it's just some nut job trying to shake his hand. Has anyone actually approached you and said, the clown sent me? No. Kind of figured.
But I did meet Deadpool last weekend, and Jesus was at my show last year, so I'm blessed, really.
Well, 12 years of Catholic school, I sent the second one down.
Sweet.
He was actually just looking for a priest, but that's another story.
Oh, good God. That's right, the Torture Show 5 times daily on the Mouth of Hell stage. Buy my book.
So what else do you have going on?
I'm actually working on another book right now that's a fantasy story. I plan for it to be a trilogy, a 3-part series. And my daughter gave me the idea because she loves fantasy books, absolutely loves them. And she, she kind of planted the seeds for the idea. And she tells me, Daddy, it'd be great if somebody wrote a book like this, and starts tossing out these ideas. And the more she's talking, the more I'm thinking, wow, this is actually a really good idea, honey. And I started writing it. I'm 5 chapters in right now, and we'll see where it goes.
And then you found out after publication that your daughter read this book about a year ago. You are being sued for plagiarism.
Right, that'd be my luck.
Yeah, I think you want to do a little checking.
I already did.
Can you let out any behind the scenes or what it's about, or you're just going to leave it at that and you have to read the next book?
Well, it's about the Kingdom of Light and the Kingdom of Darkness, and they are at battle constantly. And in 10 days' time, through the book series, in 10 days' time, the Field of Grey is going to open, where the Kingdom of Darkness will be able to come into the Kingdom of Light to finish their battle. And they need help to conquer the Kingdom of Darkness. And if I give you any more details, it's going to give away too much.
Oh, okay.
Not to give you too many ideas to fill up your schedule, but that sounds like it would also make an awesome role-playing game, like a Dungeons & Dragons HeroClix type game.
Well, yeah. That's what you meant by role-playing. I was thinking something entirely different.
Not the one where we pretend we're Catholic schoolgirls.
Wake the Gimp.
No, Catholic schoolgirls just don't do it anymore. I actually opted out of that party at Fantasies a couple weeks ago.
Oh my God.
Yes, I advertise for strip clubs once in a while
My
because
sweet little virgin ears. I
Well,
actually
they gotta-
performed at a strip club a couple of years ago, and it was not doing what you think it was. I was actually juggling, dressed as a clown at a strip club. I have a weird life.
Really? I dressed as Santa Claus at one strip club, got paid for it. Half of my pay came in the form of liquid courage. I was drinking Jaeger bombs all night. Then they handed me a fistful of, we'll just call them moist ones.
Ew.
And sent me on my way, half in the bag in my Santa suit. So what am I going to do? Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, this is purely conjecture hearsay. This may or may not be fictional.
Alleged.
So I leave strip club number 1, fistful of money, dressed up as Santa Claus. Realize I had forgotten my pants. So I have an option. I can go in rocking red and white candy striped socks, blue shorts, and a tie-dye tank top in the middle of December. Or I can go in rocking a full Victorian Santa Claus suit.
You should have mixed the two. You could have been Jerry Garcia.
I went in rocking the Santa Claus suit to the second strip club where I had alleviated and removed all of the sticky ones from my pocket. And
Oh, God.
yeah, no, I didn't have any of those left when I was done. Needless to say, I had those green spots from all the flash going off from people's phones. Yeah, I had that. It was bad. You never. If you're in full costume, unless you're with a couple of people also in costume, everybody's going to run up to you. I got to get a picture with, fill in the blank, the clown, the Santa, the whatever. And it's quite horrifying.
Sounds like it.
It is. But it was fun, too.
I'll take your word for it.
I'll off the air, I'll tell you some of the other stuff that happened.
Oh, please don't.
Because I know my wife is listening. I can't say anything too bad. I'll give it like 30 seconds, and you're going to hear a bling in the background with my wife cussing me out again for that.
It's going to be your shit
Well,
flying out the window and landing on the lawn.
This is what we've come to, folks.
All right, we're going to take another break here. We're going to go here. We're going to get a little more aggressive in the music. We're going to leave here with a little bit of Over With. The name of this one is A Star Suicide. We'll be back in a bit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Kilgore. The name of that one was Senorita Beefeater. Before that was Over With, A Star Suicide. We are talking with Cess Carney right now, and we have another giveaway. That's right. Right now, and for the next, how long you want to go? Couple day, 2 days?
It's up to you.
Okay. Actually, the very first person to email me at mynightoutradio@verizon.net, whether it's for the book, no matter what it is, you send me the email. Make sure you have your street address. We will send you 2 tickets.
We'll drop them off in person.
Well, if they're close enough, I will drop them off in person. Because
I will not.
No, it's okay. I'll make the run because I got nothing but time right now. If not, I will mail them out to you. So, once again, mynightoutradio@verizon.net. You will also get free 2
free tickets to King Richard's Renaissance Fair. They're good for any day the festival is open. Come on down, courtesy of the Torture Show and King Richard's Fair.
There you go. Make sure you hit me up, mynightoutradio@verizon.net. We're going to change gears again.
Yeah.
Now, while you're at King Richard's Fair,
yes, Eddie,
you have a hard time finding a volunteer for one of your, a part of your act.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why, but
I don't either. In the Middle Ages, didn't women do what they were told?
True.
Oh, God.
True, but this is the modern version of the medieval women.
The political correct medieval women.
Exactly. So you may or may not want to continue that line of conversation. What I'm saying is he has a section in his show where he is throwing knives at a person, and it's kind of hard to get people to sign up to help you with that one. So you have someone helping you.
I do. Her name is the incomparable Miss Damsel in Defiance. She's also on Facebook. You can check her out. She's pretty awesome. She stands up on the target board, and I need to correct something you said.
Uh-oh.
I don't throw knives at her. I throw them around her. There is a difference, Eddie. Big difference.
Well, from where I see it, my point of view is usually in the general direction of is close enough, it's at. So,
well, I was trained by a 3-time world champion knife thrower for that act. His name was Harry Monroe. He's actually from Rhode Island, and he even made the set of throwing knives I use.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, I wouldn't stand on that board.
No,
I've done it. I've done it for Harry standing on his board, and man, this is a spooky act. So my hat is off to Damselin, man. She is braver than I am.
Well, I got to tell you, I watched one show, if I'm not mistaken, was at Firehouse 13 where you did the knife throwing.
Oh, good God, that's going back in time.
You had Wick doing a handstand in front of the board. Now, I wasn't counting because I'm not that much of a jerk. I don't care how much people drink. As long as I'm as drunk as they are, we're good. But you had me blown out of the water. You were pretty hammered.
Me? No.
It could have been a good act, but you had a pretty good buzz going. You had a pretty good head of steam. Next thing I know, I thought they were joking around. Wick is doing a handstand against a wooden board, and I'm watching knives come awfully close to his junk.
Well, okay, here's a couple of little secrets for you. Well, one's a secret, one's not. The secret is I never actually drink before throwing knives. In fact, I don't even drink anymore. I stopped drinking last January. But back when I did, anytime you saw me being slurry or stumbly during the knife throwing act, that
Purely
was part
show
of the
effect.
act.
Kinda like
to
Dean
make
Martin.
it look scarier than it was. But I was legitimately throwing knives around his crotch, and the purpose of that routine was to pin the crotch of his pants to the board.
Which you did.
Yes, I did.
Well, it was absolutely amazing. I'm not going to lie. I play darts. Well, high-powered darts. I use a 9mm.
Excellent.
So I know what, if you want to hit around something, if you want to hit something, I can't really. Oh, I know it's going to hit. How do you? Obviously, practice is the short answer. But when you say, first off, how do you do it where you're actually going around someone? Number two, how do you say, hey, Chuckles, I'm going to be throwing knives at a board, and I want you to stand between me and the board. How do you, you got to be able to sell solar heat to Satan to get someone to volunteer for this shit.
It's, I don't know, glory and riches? Yeah, right, I wish. I don't know how... Damselin, if you're listening, text me and let me know why. Because I don't know. It is a very spooky thing.
I don't think you really want to poke that bear yet. Don't get her asking why she's actually doing it until the season's over.
See, here's the thing with the knife throwing act. Anyone that has hands can throw a knife. It's not that hard. It's all distance from the board and technique. We have a knife throwing game at King Richard's Fair in the Gaming Glen where patrons can come up and for it's like $1 or $2, I can't remember exactly, a couple bucks, they can throw a set of knives, and if you can stick the heart on the board, you win a prize, and that's a lot of fun. But you learn that anybody can throw a knife. But when you are used to aiming at a target, the mental mind trick, we'll go with that because it's a PG-13 show, is when somebody is standing there and now you're aiming at a target that you're trying not to hit. That really can mess with your head, and that was the biggest obstacle. That took a lot of time to get over that. Over a year, I had to practice, and believe it or not, the way I practiced of all things was with a blow-up doll because I would immediately know if it got hit. Obviously. So and Harriet told me that it's a great way to learn because then you can learn technique and distance to throw from around a body without getting too close that you're going to hit them. But I mean, accidents happen.
Well, accidents happen is the mildest way I've heard that put, but okay.
It's very unfortunate.
I've only missed once in the last year.
Oh, God.
My phone is blowing up right now.
Me.
That's you too?
Actually, Damselin is texting me right now. That's awesome.
Now, while you're getting that text, you brought up the subject of a blow-up doll, which fast-forwarded me to a headline that was in my news feed just the other day. Cincinnati, Ohio police were called on scene. There looked to be a dead body. The officer was a little bit squeamish and did not approach the dead body. He just noticed they weren't moving, they weren't clothed, so he called the coroner. Coroner shows up. Turns out someone disposed of a sex doll.
Oh, God.
So I don't know. That was just in my news feed last night, as a matter of fact.
That's pretty low. At least drop it off at Salvation Army or Savers so someone in need can have it.
But... yeah. So, what did she have to say as a response to why?
She thought it was really cool that we were talking about the show right now.
Oh, okay.
No, she's great. She wanted me to say her catchphrase. She's always in defiance, never in distress. No, Damselin is really awesome. She is really brave. I mean, she's got. I joke with people and I tell them she's got the easiest job in the world. Stand there, don't move. But at the same time, it's such an incredibly dangerous job. I don't know if people really can fully grasp the serious personal risk that she takes in that show. She could very, very easily be going to the hospital. Accidents happen. You can't perform 100% all the time, right, Eddie?
I never had, so
it's unfortunate. So no, for her to stand up on that board is incredibly.
You got to give her a lot of credit.
Oh, I do, and I tell the crowd all the time during the knife throwing act, don't clap for me for being able to throw knives. Clap for her for being brave enough to stand there because it is a very scary thing to have 8 knives whirring around your head. And the last routine we do is our version of blinded knife throwing, where I can't see her on the board, she can't see me. Now, I'm not wearing a blindfold because here's a secret, folks. You can see out of them. But we do our version where we legitimately can't see each other, and I still have to throw knives around her. I don't want to give any more details because people should come on out to King Richard's Fair and check out the Torture Show 5 times daily on the Mouth of Hell stage and see what I'm talking about.
Also, don't forget to check out his book on Amazon. Look up Sess Carney, C-A-R-N-Y. The name of the book is Dead in Dorchester. Now I'm going to go a little digging. I'm not going to lie. I do a little research, very little. But I noticed there's something new. Well, not really new for you, but new for other people not knowing you on a.
You're kind of scaring me right now.
You have a new fuzzy friend.
Oh, Gus?
Gus.
Gus
Big
is
Gus
awesome.
and Little
Big
Gus.
Gus and Little Gus.
For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, you're going to have to hold still for at least one song. We'll be back in a minute. We're going to leave here with some Pistol Shot Gypsy, and we'll be talking about Sess's friend, Gus. We'll be back in a minute. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Pistol Shot Gypsy. Name of that one was The Shogun. Of course, we're talking with Sess Carney. We have a very quiet Mr. George Gorner. We have Chuckles the Clown. We have Tony Jones. We have my wife yelling at me on the internet right now. It's okay, dear. I sorry. We'll make up for it later.
He's lying.
Yeah, probably is.
He's not sorry for shit.
So we had mentioned right before we left the air about your friend, Big Gus.
Big Gus.
Tell us a little bit about Big Gus.
Big Gus is a puppet, and no, not for that purpose. I got Gus a little while ago. He's a little green furry monster puppet, and I got him a little while ago because I also practice ventriloquism. Yeah, this is why I'm single, ladies. I think ventriloquism is like a cool old, almost lost art. You know, if you see somebody good, like if you can ever see Jeff Dunham live, he's amazing. To me, it's almost a form of real magic. You're bringing life to an inanimate object, and if you're good at it, the crowd will believe this thing is alive, and that's amazing to me. I love it.
I see. Being the nerd that I am, and of course, how much TV that I watch, Darcy Lynn.
Yeah.
Was it Britain or America? America's Got Talent.
America's Got Talent. I think 12 years
won.
old. Yes, she won.
And the year before, 2 years before, someone else who was a ventriloquist won.
Yeah.
Either Britain or America's Got Talent.
Terry
So-
Fader won, I
Yeah.
think, America's Got Talent. He's got a residency in Las Vegas now doing a show.
And you have Darcy Lynn, who's at 12, 13 years old at this point,
Yeah.
can sing better without moving her mouth than most of the singers that come up on America's Got Talent or any of those talent shows. She does an amazing several songs
An
throughout
incredible
the season.
range without ever moving her lips. It's incredible to watch her perform.
Which, by the way, gives hope to people like me who think they can sing. And then when someone points out, no, you still can't sing, whether or not you move your mouth, you still stink at it.
Nice.
Yeah. I have very honest friends.
Well, I got Gus for my daughter. She's always loved puppets and, plush toys and things like that. And I got Gus because she loved when I would make my hand talk. I used to do that old thing we did in school when we were kids, draw a little face on your hand, and I would make it talk to her. And she thought that was great. So I ended up ordering Gus off of the internet, and he's kind of become like a friend to her. Anytime I pull Gus out, she gets so happy and excited because she knows she's going to have like a 20-minute conversation with an old friend.
Now, I'm going to rib you a little bit on something you said just a few minutes ago.
God.
You said, look, this, ladies, is why I'm still single.
Yeah, this is why I'm single.
If you've noticed, almost every segment you've mentioned your daughter. You seem to be very focused around your daughter. And again, I don't want to bring this up because I know you want to keep your personal life personal.
Totally
but you care more about your daughter than pretty much anything else. And if
she's my entire world. She is
that's the
everything.
point I was trying to bring out. Even my wife, who doesn't like most of the people I associate with, and of course she's going to text me in a few seconds, you're lying about that. She is very opinionated towards some of my friends. You're the only one, or one of the very few, that she cannot fault because, your world revolves around your daughter.
Yeah, I got her name tattooed over my heart, and then I had a heart-shaped silicone implant implanted in my chest under her tattooed name. So that way, no matter how many times my heart's ever broken, I always have a full one for my daughter.
I'm not sure if that sounds really cool or really stupid.
All I'm going to say is, ladies, he's still unattached. So if you want, My Night Out Radio at Verizon.net for the right price. I'll tell you where. Well, at least I'll give you.
If you play your cards wrong, you can take me home.
Well, Ed, you'll take a percentage.
Hey, and don't forget my
Well,
tattoos
depends
that my
on the
daughter drew, too.
That's right. On his left arm, he has a tattoo that his daughter drew.
Yeah, it's me breathing fire at King Richard's
Now,
Fair.
now she didn't actually do the tattooing. She drew it. Somebody else.
She made the crayon drawing, and I went to see Chris Cotillo at Torchbearer Tattoo in Providence. Hey, I like that plug. Chris has done most of my work. He's an incredible artist, and when I brought him her little crayon drawing, he was stoked. He thought that was cool because it's the first time he ever did a child's drawing on somebody for a tattoo. But we very quickly realized just how hard it is to make tattoo ink look like crayon. So it took about 5 hours to do this piece, but I'm really happy. To me, it really captures her original drawing. It's my favorite tattoo.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of another My Night Out Radio. Thank you, everyone for tuning in. Seth, thank you for being part of this. George,
Thank you, Eddie.
Chuckles,
You're
Tony,
welcome.
thank you again, as usual. We will be back next week. We're going to leave here with a little bit of 610 Connector. Name of this one is Before It Came Undone. Have a good night, everybody.
Listen to the sound of footsteps in the dark, to voices that may not be quite human, to the sound of screams in the night. The Haunted Cabaret, the home of all things horror, on Rhode with your host, George Corner. The Haunted Cabaret starts now.
All right. That was Judas Priest, Nightcrawler, off probably the best Judas Priest album of all time, Painkiller, back from 1990. I am your host, George Garner. This is the Haunted Cabaret, initiating our, well, yeah, it's October 1st today, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, initiating our October Halloween season. So we will do our best to outdo ourselves for this entire month. And yes, I can do it. With me is, I'll tell you, we had a full house up for the last couple of shows. Now we're left with Chuckles the Clown and Tony Jones, the hardcore aspect of Rhode Island Free Radio, which only goes to show that the guest that Chuckles and Ed had in their shows, respectively, has a very good survival instinct. That man fled.
Listen, he has books to sell. I mean, he can't be attracting any negative publicity.
That's right. So he probably just took enough of a hint from my couple of veiled comments during the other show hosted by the other talent. And, yeah, he fled. That was fast. He was out of here in record time. Now, I mean, and that's drawing a conclusion. I mean, how did he know that I would have bad things to say about his book? I mean, how did he know that? I don't know. It must be intuition. It must be psychic. We're gonna bring it down to psychic, right? It is the Devil's Month. It is Halloween month. The time when demons roam the land and psychics run out of the Haunted Cabaret screaming for mercy. But now it's another one of those weeks, episodes where, Tony, I think that reality is slightly scarier and weirder, and like it's happened again. I mean, I was going to talk about a couple of genre subjects, but then I put on the news and I saw this horrible thing sitting in a Congress chair. It's supposed to be some kind of like Judge Ford or something. I thought it looked like an Edsel Ford is what it looked like. It was ugly. And I thought that was supposed to be some like really attractive bimbo, blonde, you know what I'm saying, talking about how she was molested. When, I guess I've been working a lot of hours because it didn't cross my mind that I missed the phrase 36 years ago. This woman looks like Hillary Clinton. No, actually what she looks like is, it looks like somebody kind of, and by the way, you know what I'm talking about, right? They're trying to put a judge on the Supreme Court, and a couple of bimbos are saying that he like molested them when they were in high school and college at drunken sex parties. Like, God forbid that should happen at a drunken sex party. And now they're parading the bimbos up there to testify in Congress. And like I said, I thought I was going to see a party bimbo, and maybe it looked more like they were exploring in Egypt in one of those Egyptian tombs.
He must be a Bill Clinton fan. Have you seen his lineup?
The other two?
No, Bill Clinton's lineup.
Oh, Bill Clinton's bimbos. Oh, yeah, those are horrendous. I'll tell you, there was one, like, the woman had more, like, bumps in her nose and, more of a crooked nose than, like, Snake Hill Road in Rhode Island. Yeah, okay, so you're saying he's following. Although, I don't know. Even though this woman now looks like some kind of, like, embalmed Egyptian mummy that's been dead for 2,000 years, how did she look back in the day, though? Still no good, huh? That said 1,000 words. Yeah. I'm not going to talk the whole show about politics, no matter how hideous the people involved are. But I will say this. Everybody's worried about whether he molested some woman while he was drunk. Does anybody realize that this judge is a lush? The man's a drunk.
He likes beer.
The man likes beer the way fish like water. The man likes beer the way Donald Trump likes greenbacks. The man likes beer the way, Chuckles, help me. Give me a good comparison here. Like
I like candy.
Or frozen corpses.
Yeah. I was trying to get away from that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we're rehabbing your reputation for Halloween month?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay, we can do that. All right. The point is, everything the guy says, he's a drunk. His defense for not remembering screwing around with women in college is that he was drunk. And so basically, I don't care if we elect a molester, a rapist, a murderer, a witch, a witch. I don't care. Ed, you must have a strong opinion on this. I mean, do we care if we're appointing a woman raper to the Supreme Court, or is it more important that the man's a drunk?
It's not what they did in their past. I feel it's more their background.
Uh-huh.
Like, can they still be fair even though
they
have this in their past?
Or even though they're drunk?
Drunk.
Because what I'm like I say, what I'm not. I think what everybody's missing, it's kind of the forest and the trees type of thing. Everybody's worried about whether he did this or did that with like women in college, right?
Yeah.
Every word out of his mouth is about how much he likes to drink.
Distract one bad behavior with another one.
Right, but
don't notice what my right hand's doing. Just watch my left hand, which is doing something.
Which is calling the bartender.
Exactly.
over here.
Exactly.
Right. So that's my point. I mean, which is worse? I mean, fooling around with a few women at parties in college, or being a lifelong drunk that's going to go down shit-faced when you're sitting on the bench in the Supreme Court?
Well, either way, no one gets out of this alive. Why not throw caution to the wind? Do as much as you can, and if they catch you and say, "Oh, you're bad. We caught you did this before," you take your lumps.
He can probably fit a couple six-packs under the judge's robe.
Under the bench, under the robe.
Probably like wearing a toga.
Well, it's not going to be a matter of six-packs. I think he'll have like the bottles, bottles and bags, the vodka, the grain whiskey and everything like that. And, there'll be some under his robes. There'll be some in the judge's, maybe in his gavel. We can hollow out the gavel, and maybe put a couple of nips in there.
Well, I've always gotten that mental image of, all right, he's got the judge's robe, but underneath he's dressed like Jimmy Buffett. The Hawaiian shirt.
Right.
Cargo shorts.
Or he's dressed like the guitar player from AC/DC.
Yeah, the thing that bothers me most about this guy is, having lived all my life in Rhode Island, even though I've recently left. Does this guy remind anybody else of the former governor of Rhode Island, Lincoln Chafee?
I never thought of that.
Yeah, think about it. Look at that picture they have on him on the news station, some of the news stations, when they're trying to make him look less than flattering. And he's got the red cheeks, he's got the deer in the headlights. Expression about him. He looks kind of like Link Chafee right before Link Chafee said he wanted to have a holiday tree. Remember that? Sure, he wanted to have a holiday tree.
Was it Chafee?
That was Lincoln Chafee with
All
a
right.
holiday. Absolutely. He wanted to have a holiday tree. He wanted the country to go back to metric, I should say, not back to it.
We had made a very sorrowful attempt to go metric back in Jimmy Carter's administration.
Yeah, I remember I was a little kid in school. And
that
they were
was a
trying.
very confusing weekend. I had 2 really confusing weekends in a row back then.
I had 3. I remember. Yeah, they were trying to teach us metric.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid in school, that was one. I was really baffled.
Yeah.
The other time I was really baffled because of the action of a moronic president or government or whoever was responsible.
Narrow it down.
Yeah, okay. It was the time when I was very little kid. We're talking about like in the first grade, like that little. And I got up to go to school, and my mother gets me all dressed, and they send me outside to get the school bus, and it's dark. It's like pitch dark outside. It's not morning. It's pitch dark.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they tried to explain to me at the time, but it's like I didn't understand. And then I found out years later that that's because the president at the time decided to, not move daylight savings around or something, or it had something to do with.
There are a lot of things that politics gets involved in that they shouldn't.
Well, I think because it was the last days of Richard Nixon, and he was trying to keep a veil of darkness over all his activities, so that included little kids going to school and getting the bus.
So keep everyone else confused so they're not catching on to what you're actually doing.
Exactly. Thus bringing us full circle right up to this idiot that wants to be a Supreme Court judge.
No? If it worked for him, it might work for the other guy.
I like
you never
that.
know.
One hand and the other.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's like a good magic trick.
There was some talk of that again, by the way. Massachusetts was not going to observe daylight savings time, but Rhode Island still wanted to. So you'd have an hour when you hit the border. When you hit that big speed bump at the border from crappy roads to good roads, you'd also lose an hour of your day.
Well, yeah, and plus you drive into, like, there'd be I don't know, can you picture it? Just like that wall of darkness or wall of daytime that you would drive either out of or into. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Before we get too far on this and I start really ranting, because, I don't want to rant. I don't want to rant on Halloween month about a bunch of stupid stuff like drunk judges and presidents that don't know when to turn the daytime on and all this type of thing that warped me as a child. I don't want to think about all these. Well, maybe I do. Maybe it'd be better if I talked about it. All these things that warped me as a child that made me what I am today. And I think the finishing touch, beside the president keeping it dark outside when I went to get the bus, was the first year my mother let me go out for trick or treat. She dressed me up like Satan, and I was an impressionistic, like 4 or 5 years old.
Well,
they sent me to Catholic school. And then they dressed me up like Satan in October, a month later.
Be grateful that you can actually use a medium like this instead of the current millennials who, if they had anywhere near the same experiences, would be showing a doctor somewhere on the dial where reality touched them.
No, I'd be showing the attendant in the mental institution where to scratch because I had a straitjacket on, and just asking, "Would you please scratch me over here? Right next to the scar I got when the police shot me down for using that machete." But
having a medium like this saves us all a lot of money in what we would be paying psychologists. I mean, that costs a lot of money.
Yeah, it's kind of like self-therapy. Speaking of mediums, I don't know, do you think maybe we could find a medium to contact my dead mother and ask her what she had in mind, sending me to Catholic school and dressing me up like Satan?
And as far as the Satan costume, was it like an intense costume, or was it just the plastic mask and the smock, 70s, 80s costume?
Well, it was the plastic mask.
Which, by the way, were the biggest fire hazards ever. One spark on that mask and the thing just went up in flames.
I would have been.
You would have been Freddy Krueger,
Yeah. Oh, no, my mother was awesome, actually. This is my roundabout way of testifying to her greatness. I mean, she dressed me up like Satan. She bought me a book on by H.P. Lovecraft when I was 7 or 8 years old. It's like, I couldn't have done better. I mean, really. Bought me my first Slayer album.
Wow.
I mean, yeah.
A very forward thinker.
Yeah. Well, or indulgent toward her little boy. She knew what I loved and indulged me. The only thing two things that I didn't get my way. One of them is that she didn't let me go see The Exorcist when I was, I think, maybe 9.
Probably smart.
Probably, because that might.
She's the one that has to listen to you scream all night.
Yeah, that might have. Yeah, it was her sleep. Yeah, it was her and my father's sleep that I would have been disturbed and scream. Yeah, you
hollering all hours of the night.
You got a point there. Like screaming, "The power of Christ compels you!" Like in the middle of the night at 3:00 in the morning.
Or worse, going downstairs and peeing on the carpet.
I never quite thought of it that way. She might have been saving her own sanity. Never mind mine. Well, speaking of that, all right, let's go. Let's go to the music. Segues again, making themselves. Voices of the Dead by Witches of Salem here on the Haunted Cabaret on Rhode Island Free Radio.
Cascading deliberately.
All right. That was Voices of the Dead by the Witches of Salem. And, yeah, a pleasant surprise happened under the music. Seth Carney has wandered into the studio. And he's a man I misjudged because at the end of Ed's show, last show before this one, Ed and Seth hurried out of the room. And I said to Tony Jones, I said, well, Seth, because of the Halloween month, he must have, he must be psychic. He's fleeing for his life, for his reputational life from my show.
If I was psychic, I'd be living a whole different lifestyle.
Right. And now I know I was wrong because you came back.
You weren't wrong. You were just unright.
It's called alternative facts.
Sounds better.
Maybe you've heard about this before.
Yeah, Orwell.
It's like when somebody says, how you doing? And you're like, I'm not unwell.
Yeah, otherwise
George Carlin said, they got to think about that.
Yeah, but it was George Orwell that did that in 1984, long before George Carlin. Yeah,
I was just quoting Carlin. I don't know.
Who's quoting George Orwell? See, sometimes people don't understand. This show is educational and informative. We don't only talk about women who resemble Egyptian mummies, like parading in front of Congress with drunk judges. We don't only talk about the history of Godzilla. Oh, and by the way, coming up on this show, we are going to discuss in depth that raid by the giant monsters on Indonesia this past week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we will discuss that in depth. I mean, I'm not I don't approve of cover-ups. I mean, if that was a giant monster attack on Indonesia, let's just say what it is. Never mind this earthquake crap and this tsunami crap. I mean, I saw those pictures. You don't see pictures like that of an Asian country demolished unless it's the work of at least 2 or 3 giant monsters. Chuckles, would you agree?
I concur with that statement.
Thank you. It's a good thing because there's nothing. We'll talk about that a little later. Right now, I want to talk to. We're going to have a little segment with Seth Carney, who's wandered back into the room. And Seth, now you were here promoting all kinds of things on the other shows.
Yep, promoting my book and my live show.
Yeah, so let's quickly promote your book and your live show right now as we speak.
Okay, the book is called Dead End Dorchester. It is available on Amazon.com. Wink, wink. It's illustrated by Kate Swanson. It's a collection of 25 short horror poems and stories that's perfect for reading around a campfire or on Halloween or just anytime you want to have some spooky fun.
Okay, and your show involves
fire eating, knife throwing, and the ending of the show gets switched up throughout the day. So, because we do 5 shows daily, so we change up the ending so people come back and see what else we got in store.
Right, and this show won't be taking place in the middle of the street outside in West Warwick, but
at King Richard's Renaissance Fair in Carver, Massachusetts. And that was Eddie's phone.
That was rapid fire hate mail right there. Holy cow.
King Richard's Renaissance Fair in Carver. We're open weekends through October 21st, including Columbus Day Monday, 10:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., and I perform in the Torture Show.
Okay, but because it's King Richard's Renaissance Fair, welcome to all ages. You're not going to be throwing the knives directly at someone, correct?
No, I throw them around
the person,
into the crowd.
And her name is the incomparable Miss Damsel in Defiance, and she's one of the bravest women that I know.
Well, let's see if we can make her. Tony, you don't think that we could slip a Mickey Finn into this guy's beverage on that day and see if he can? Can we actually get him to throw at somebody? It doesn't have to be Miss Defiance. I mean,
see, what's funny though is because
I would just love to see just the knife thrower go berserk in the course of his show.
But the issue is I've spent so long throwing around a target,
right? Even
aiming to not hit something that now, if I draw targets on my board, I can't.
You still can't hit them.
I just naturally want to throw around them. It's really bizarre.
I think the best thing to do if you just wanted carnage would be to throw them straight up in the air, right?
On fire.
Fire adds the extra
Every man
layer
for himself.
of difficulty.
And we're going to pour gasoline around first. Add a little more flair.
Yeah. Now, obviously, me being who I am, I mean, the show you're doing now sounds very entertaining, but obviously, since the other fellows here told me that you used to do a hardcore act, I, of course, am more interested in hearing about that. Like, what did that involve, and what would it ever induce you to do it again?
You'd have to offer me a stupid amount of money to do it again because my body hates me from years of doing that act.
How long actually did you do it?
I did that for 18 years.
Okay, now when you say hardcore, I'm assuming that you mean the bed of nails, the spikes through the nose.
That's the regular show stuff.
Okay, that's the regular show. Give me an example.
The hardcore show was reserved for my guaranteed 21 plus shows. Motorcycle festivals, tattoo conventions, after hours kind of thing.
Okay.
Where I knew I was going to have an older audience. The tagline of that show was guaranteed to bleed. And anyone who saw that show could attest I would end up a very bloody mess.
Well, let's say, I am curious because I've seen shows billed as hardcore, sideshows, hardcore, and what those shows involve is just what I said. You know what I'm saying? So, what what kind of stunts do you do that takes actually more like hardcore wrestling type things?
Kind of. I would take the classic acts, human blockhead, hammering a nail in your nose, but I would kind of up it a little bit and use a power drill. Which that did almost kill me in Texas 7 years ago because that act went as wrong as it possibly could, and there was so much blood.
Yeah, I can see.
The pain was indescribable.
Yeah, I can see how the margin of survival in that particular bit would be.
In that particular bit.
Drill
bit. Yeah,
they write themselves.
Yeah, right. The hardcore show, I would get staple gunned in my face by audience members. I had needles I shoved through my face and my neck. And a lot of times, don't tell anybody, but sometimes I did what was called a wrestling gig and I hurt myself.
Uh-oh.
The show was always billed as guaranteed to bleed, so I made sure I bled.
I'll tell you, Tom, now I understand you're a single man, and Tony,
am.
If you remember my Bachelor show, couldn't we introduce him to a wonderful, lovely woman?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who basically, yeah.
See,
if you staple things to your face.
Don't do it. Here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. That's a character that I play. I don't actually go out after shows and have a crazy nightlife. I actually go home and watch Star Wars because this is how I roll.
Oh, you mean you don't want to be introduced to a woman that gets wet by having things stuck into her body?
Not really. It's hey, more power to anybody that does that. I'm not one to judge anyone. It's just not my thing.
No, I'm just saying I'm in a good mood because it is Halloween month, and
Which is funny because when you see me at King Richard's Fair, I'm covered in leather, like from head to toe. I look like I should be in a movie called Wake the Gimp.
Or The Village People.
Exactly.
Yeah, see, the one time I tried to play matchmaker, it just doesn't work.
It's...
I'm not going to mention names, but I did try to play matchmaker once.
To him?
Yeah, and...
It didn't go
well.
Did not go so well.
And I thought, it's one of those cases where you thought one person's weirdness matched someone else's weirdness,
and it just wasn't compatible.
And it was just like trying to stack.
Well, you realize
the weirdness scale was there. It was questionable morals that were not.
Well, you realize it's also a matter
and
of
not in that way.
It's also a matter of timing. I mean,
right.
If Seth was in his bloody mess period,
yeah,
and the woman was not, or in this case, as I just suggested, if this woman is in her suffering, agony, and bloody mess period, and Seth is not, it's just not. It's a matter of timing. It just won't work.
Yeah.
So it could have just been timing. That's all.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah. All right.
I don't blame you, Eddie. I still love you.
It's okay. We always have that night on the Cape.
Where the full moon rose in more ways than one.
I saw several moons that night.
Blue moon.
I like this. I'm doing less work than I ever did on this show, and I'm just being entertained.
This is going south quick. I gotta go, guys. I gotta get home to my kiddo.
Well, you were about to be just thrown out of here anyway.
I'm
because
sure
enough was enough.
It wouldn't be the first time I've been kicked out.
Yeah, take your moons and.
I'm leaving that one alone. It's been real. It's been fun. It hasn't been real fun, but it's been. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, says Carney. Let's go back to the music. A little bit of Blue Oyster Cult, Don't Fear the Reaper, here on Rhode Island Free Radio, the Haunted Cabaret.
Times have come here, but now they're gone. Seasons don't fear the reaper, nor do the wind, the sun, or the rain. We can be like they are. Come on, baby, don't fear the reaper. Baby, take my hand. Don't fear the reaper. We'll be able to fly. Don't fear the reaper. Baby, I'm your man. Romeo and Juliet are together in eternity. Romeo and 40,000 men and women every day. 40,000 men and women every day. Every 40,000 coming every day. Come on, baby, don't fear the reaper. Baby, take my hand. Don't fear the reaper. We'll be able to fly. Don't fear the reaper. Baby, I'm your man. La 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 la. La 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 la.
All right, that was Don't Fear the Reaper, Blue Oyster Cult. I guess if the word quintessential is going to be used for anything, it would be for that song as far as quintessential Halloween month song. I mean, there's not many.
Quintessential use of the cowbell.
I don't know about that. I think Lynyrd Skynyrd gets quintessential use of the cowbell, and I don't think we need to demonstrate any of those songs on the air either. But, yeah, definitely quintessential. It took me a lot of years to realize that was about inviting teenagers to commit suicide. And, yeah, I never could understand why that, like the do-gooders or the moral, righteous people were always trying to get that song banned. But now I know. Because I could never understand the lyrics until I got a really nice, the really nice, clear, remastered, CD. And, came a last night of sadness, and it was clear that she couldn't go on. And, yeah. So encouraging teenagers to commit suicide, I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily, because if a teenager commits suicide, they never get to grow up and be an obnoxious adult that hasn't committed suicide.
And be miserable.
And be miserable all the rest of their lives. And what's even worse is become female singer-songwriters contemplating suicide for like a 20-year career. These things happen. Well, Ed, you seem to be some kind of, there seems to be a questioning look on your face.
No, that you brought up a point where
I always bring up points.
At what point does she stop going from being the actually feeling suicidal guitar playing singer-songwriter in whatever coffee shop she's in? When she gets, at what point in her success is she no longer actually suicidal? Now she actually has to fake suicidal
feelings.
Thoughts because she's, swimming in a pool full of money like Scrooge McDuck.
Right. Well, I think probably she avoids that situation by indulging in enough substances and self-pity that she never becomes successful enough to really be swimming in the money. She's just handed it.
Okay.
Occasionally at the end of the night.
All right.
Yeah. What usually evolves is now if you do have a female singer-songwriter who does become successful in spite of herself, usually what saves them in that case is that they usually have a male friend who commits suicide. As a matter of fact, I think this is kind of a rule that you're not allowed to be a successful female singer-songwriter unless you have a friend who has committed suicide.
Yeah, if you have to have that ring of death around you or something.
Yeah, that ring of truth. In other words, like you can't sound... It's just not authentic.
Yeah, you don't have that moment of angst that you're building the rest of your career on.
Right. And it can't just be one moment of angst. I mean, you have to be able to go back and revisit this... and hopefully depress enough other people listening to your crappy, shitty music that they kill themselves too, and then you're responsible.
But if in a case like that, you always can make the switch off to gospel music at the end because to save yourself right before the final curtain.
Oh, absolutely. That's when you run. That's when your moment of, and you are 100% right. It's that initial moment of angst. Yeah. The dead friend. That initial moment of angst.
Yeah. The defining moment to spearhead all this emotion into whatever lyrical drivel and gruel that you have regurgitated out for that night.
Yeah, it's usually worth... one suicide by a friend is usually worth at least 4 or 5 CDs worth of really wretched music.
And then you have the in memorial for the person who's passed, 5 years gone album, rehashing all the best ofs from the previous 5 albums.
Yeah, right. So yeah, it's an intolerable situation, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, as anyone can tell out there, I have said this before. People with very little creativity and very little going for them creatively, do become the singer-songwriters because then they can lament basically how like we said, how they can lament the angst, and the angst is actually not from the dead friend. That's an excuse. The angst is actually because they suck. I mean, like. My favorites from back in the day, actually, I'll come up a prehistoric one and an oldie one. Mm-hmm. The oldie one is this person named Jewel. If anybody remembers Jewel. Like, this is one of the people that really made me hate singer-songwriters, female singer-songwriters.
All
right. So online, they got a club together. She released, I don't know how many CDs, but, I think even to this day, if she hasn't died, or hasn't killed herself, or she's still around.
Yeah.
But she released quite a few CDs. She had a pretty successful career based on all that angst. But her angst, I think, was based on her breasts, and because on internet, a bunch of people got together on the internet and formed a Jewel Club, and the task was, how many times on a CD would she refer to her own breasts?
Okay.
In other words, she had a very limited vocabulary. Maybe she stopped reading at the point of here's Dick and Jane and Spot, and they're doing sick things together, like in that that first reader.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was basically the limit.
Not
of
quite to the Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys level.
No, absolutely not. No. Those Nancy Drew and Hardy.
Far too advanced for them.
That was too advanced. Yeah, she would have had to graduate to another level to read Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys. Yeah. But yes, I think that's the most extreme case of singer-songwriter angst carrying. The other one is, anybody ever remember out there, and I know I'm digging up fossil dinosaurs even older than that ugly-looking woman on the Judge thing, but anybody remember something called Joan Baez?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was a whole gaggle of them.
There was. Back
Joan
in
Baez, there was...
if you look back in the 1960s, yeah. Yeah. Well, who else were you going to mention?
Now I'm having a brain fart.
That's okay, because Joan Baez was the standard bearer.
Yeah.
She was... And her claim to fame, besides her rotten poetry, is that she was Bob Dylan's girlfriend for a few months. Mm-hmm. Until I think Bob Dylan got sick of listening to her really shitty poetry and threw her out.
Yeah.
And we know that that's what happened because she actually wrote a song called Diamonds and Rust, where one of the lines in the poem says, "You said my poetry stinks." That's actually a line. So I guess she didn't want us to mistake the source of her angst.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so she milked that 6 months with Bob Dylan for, I think she's about 108 now, or 200, something like that. And she'll still talk about it at the drop of a hat. Yeah, so I think that's the most legendary of the singer-songwriter no talent hacks. Then bring out the Jewel, and then just go down Providence on any given
open mic night,
and you will get more than your fill.
Well, for every one or two decent singers or people who actually have a future or potential career in music, you have another, 3/4 of them who
basically should be hung with microphone cords from lampposts and burned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only good note coming out of them would be their last breath.
Or their screams.
Either or.
Yeah.
We don't judge. We equal opportunity.
Yeah, we do.
Well, on the inside, we do.
Okay. But be that as it may, I think the problem with the singer-songwriter thing is there's a big disconnect between now. Why do people, male and female, by the way, insist that they can do both? It's like ever since those 60s, folk singers, it's like too many people think they can do both. Why can't we just say, okay, here's somebody, I have a good voice, I'm illiterate, but I have a good voice, so I'll sing other people's songs. Other people can write me songs. Mm-hmm. Good to go. Then you have people like Bob Dylan, whose his voice sounds like some kind of farm animal caught in a barbed wire fence.
Yeah.
Who, when he writes a great song, anybody other than him that sings it sounds 100 times better, and it demonstrates a great song. So we should have our singers, we should have our songwriters, and I don't think they should meet too often right in the middle.
There are very few. I'll choose my words carefully here, but there are a lot of people out there who have a hard time with letting go or giving up control over their own project. Like, I know how I want this to sound. I want part of this person's voice. I might as well just do it myself.
Right, and they
screw up their own song with the voice of the person who actually wrote it.
Right now, and I know that in everybody's youth, and I include myself. When I was 16, I knew how to write a song. I knew how to do everything. Right, but there comes a point where if you're going to continue to be creative into later life, you need to listen to other people. I mean, look, I found out that I'm a way better songwriter than a singer. I know that. I can put the occasional cat like being torn to shreds vocal across, but yes, Tony Jones well knows. But
you have the ability to accept the criticism that your voice lacks the luster it needed,
lacks the creative range, the lacks the ability to sound anything like the possessed demons in Exorcist 3.
Now, did you find this out all on your own, or did someone kind of give you a hint like, hey, you sound like a cat gargling broken glass?
The moment came when, during my about my first recording session, strangely enough, because before you go in a studio or or anywhere where you have anything professionally recorded with professional competence, as a garage band type person or as a recording yourself type, you can always justify the fact that you're mediocre at some task by saying, oh well, the sound's no good. Your cousin was your cousin's recording in the garage. It just it left out all those positive great qualities in your voice for some reason,
because somebody didn't know what they were doing. They weren't paying attention.
Right, somebody didn't know what they were doing.
Now you have someone getting paid however much an hour to make sure they recreate your voice exactly as it comes out of your face. Right. And that's when you hear it and you do the disconnect, that you listening as musically, not as, hey, it's my voice recording back. You go beyond the surface. You're actually examining the sound quality and realizing it has no sound quality.
Right. There's something wrong here, and it's not the music. There's something wrong here, and it's not the engineer. There's something wrong here, and it's not your friends, because their vocal tracks sound really good.
Exactly. But now you surround yourself with a bunch of yes people.
Yeah,
right? Maybe your ear has a little bit of tin in it. So am I hearing that correctly? Oh, yes, you're wonderful. Oh, yes, you're the best. Your friends are just appeasing your ego. They're stroking you right along to get into that mindset that you sound awesome, even though you don't.
Right.
So it depends on, if you have honest friends like the people in this room. If you suck, we're going to say, hey, George, that kind of sucked.
Right. But like you say, barring that, and by the way, isn't it amazing how clowning around on this show or bad-mouthing people on this show can, without warning, evolve into intelligent conversation?
Intelligence sneaks up on you.
It
I've
does.
been trying to hide from it for years.
It's like an attack of insight. Because really, I mean, anybody listening to this show of the creative type, it doesn't matter whether it's music or art, whether it's writing, written word, no matter what, graphic design, whatever it is. And I'm here to tell you,
interpretive dance.
I almost used the F word. I have no interest whatsoever in interpretive dance. To me, interpretive dance is what you do when you're having foreplay to athletic sex. That's interpretive dance as far as I'm concerned. Unless you're Russian. You know what I'm saying? If you're a Russian, then I don't know. That's some kind of Chernobyl influence. You jump around like a maniac.
Well,
I don't know.
I know for a fact that your brother and our own DJ Psycho Eddie are big fans of interpretive dance.
My brother was.
In fact, they support a dance facility on a regular basis.
Well, if you want to stretch the definition of interpretive dance to interpret the
the rent's due in about 3 days, and I'm $100 short.
Yeah, and my college tuition is due in 2 days.
I'm going to be a paralegal.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, you know what? You're right. I should never underestimate interpretive dance. I mean, my brother has flown all the way to the Philippines to indulge in interpretive dance. The man is the man is an interpretive dance scholar. My brother Greg, if you're listening, that best compliment I can give anybody. This man flew from the United States, from our own Green Airport in Rhode Island, to by way of Tokyo. He caught a connecting flight in Tokyo to go to the Philippines because he liked the idea of the hookers in, I don't know what Philippine town it was. But yes, he pursued his passion for interpretive dance all the way to the Philippines without being intimidated by that dictator over there or international, nothing.
See, your passion for whatever it is you're pursuing will supersede any reason, logic, or military insurgents.
Right. And bringing us back to the point, right around full circle. Right. I didn't become a capable and or pseudo-successful performer until I realized that fact, that I listened to myself and I wasn't good at everything, just most things. But there was that one or two things, and
See, now, on the flip side, how do you know that if you've tried interpretive dance, you might be the next savant in interpretive dance?
Well, no, let's not.
But
you're assuming
you've never attempted it.
No. You're assuming a lot. You're assuming that I never explored the world of interpretive dance to any great extent. I have explored the world of interpretive dance with a couple of women whose interpretations are. Well, let's just say that
bizarre.
Well, let's just say that several years ago, many years ago, before I met my current girlfriend and wife. Let's just say that before those,
you have one of each or the same person.
In those dead days, in those long ago days,
yeah,
very long ago days, I kept company with a woman who managed to, let's see, Portsmouth, Rhode Island, the hedge maze.
Yes.
She lived in. We visited the hedge maze, and she lived in North Smithfield, which is maybe an hour travel time.
Yep.
She sat behind the wheel of the car with me as an onlooker and basically pleasured herself, orgasm to orgasm, behind the wheel of her car, all the way from the hedge maze in Portsmouth to her bedroom in North Smithfield, Rhode Island.
Holy cow.
Okay. I admire her determination.
I admired her determination, and I also had I didn't admire the fact we were almost killed, because a couple of times in the midst of orgasm, her eyes closed.
That's
and naturally it happened on like the S curve, the S curve of 95.
Yeah. Well, that as a gentleman, you lend a helping hand, grab the steering wheel, let her finish.
Well, no, the whole point was she was doing it as a marathon.
Okay.
If I had grabbed anything, it would have,
I'm not saying grabbing her. I'm saying grabbing the wheel so you don't die.
Oh, I did that. About the same time as I yelled, "Open your eyes!" I grabbed the wheel. Yeah.
You had good reflexes.
And all she said was, "Ah!" And that wasn't a scream of fear either. No.
But no, probably not.
No.
But you see, these are the life experiences that have primed you to be the thinker that you are now.
Right.
Now, you know through experience that actually could happen. So when you have someone else who tells you a more far-fetched story, there's that little bit of plausibility, even though...
Right, but you say to yourself, okay, that's a little more far-fetched, but that could happen, who knows? I think you've hit on something there. That's why I'm so tolerant of implausibility.
Yeah.
And why I get along so well in life milking implausibility.
Because nothing is impossible unless you tell yourself that it's impossible.
There was one thing that was impossible: finding my way to the bathroom off that woman's waterbed in the middle of the night.
Where did it land?
Where did I land? Or
no. Where did you actually do your business? Because how dare they screw up that hotel room or wherever you were?
In her apartment's she had a waterbed in her apartment. But the point
whoever
is that
designed her apartment obviously put the bathroom in the wrong place, because where you went was the place you needed to go.
Right. But the other factor was that the woman had the instincts of a vampire. In other words, she couldn't sleep unless the room was pitch black.
Okay.
Literally pitch black. I mean, like, for example, we're in a room now, right? If these lights were off and there was a little crack of light coming in under that curtain, she couldn't sleep. I mean, I asked her, I seriously asked her, do you want a coffin? And maybe I'll excavate 6 feet, and we'll get you comfortable for the night.
Yeah.
She earned it. I was willing to dig 6 feet down so she'd have a nice sleep and refurbish herself.
But those are with every person you have a dance partnership with, we'll call it. These are the eccentricities you have to accept in order to keep playing the game.
Absolutely, and we all know, I think we'll all agree in this room, that it's women with eccentricities that are the best company. There's nothing worse than a boring woman. There really isn't.
No, I fully agree.
So here's to eccentricities. By the way,
this is where I have to stop in that conversation, though, because we've already proven tonight my wife is listening.
Is she still think she's still listening even to my show?
As long as
you're on it, I think
she listens in. And before my phone starts vibrating out of my pocket, I'm going to just cut right there because I know she'll get at me.
Actually, the fact of the matter is, Tony, I think the whole thing is going to cut right there.
We're about got 2 minutes left.
2 minutes. This is just. We got to do something about this. We really do. Action has to be taken. All right, let's go. We have time for like 2 minutes of something. Let's just, Tony, go right down to the McGunks. Let's do one for the road. We'll be out of here. Until next time, that's the most abbreviated Twilight Zone time we've ever experienced here, I think. But, checking out McGunks, taking us out of this week's Haunted Cabaret and Rhode Island Free Radio. Nighty-night.